Bank accounts get checked. Apps open. Numbers appear. Apps close immediately. This happens millions of times every day across the country. The ritual of financial avoidance. The quick peak, followed by the rapid exit. The hope that somehow the numbers will be different this time, followed by the confirmation that they're exactly the same or worse. 3 a.m, ceiling staring, mind racing through disaster scenarios. The car breaking down, the laptop dying, job loss, emergency vet bills. These thoughts loop endlessly for people without financial cushions. The anxiety becomes white noise, background static that never quite goes away. Most people assume financial milestones are arbitrary, made-up numbers that serve no real purpose beyond making people feel inadequate. But there's actual psychology and mathematics behind why certain amounts of money create dramatic shifts in daily existence. The first real game changer isn't $1 million or even 100,000, it's 10,000. This specific amount eliminates almost all midnight anxiety sessions and fundamentally transforms how people navigate through life. But here's what nobody tells you about reaching this number. The real transformation doesn't happen when you hit 10,000. It happens at exactly $7,300. That's the precise point where something breaks in your brain chemistry, where desperation turns into strategy. And by the end, the reason why this matters will completely change how you think about every dollar you spend starting tomorrow. Picture life without this amount. The grocery store mental calculation, name brand cereal versus generic cardboard. The dinner invitation from friends requiring creative excuses because $25 would destroy the weekly budget. This is reality for millions living paycheck to paycheck. Every financial decision becomes careful calculation. Every unexpected expense feels like potential catastrophe. Constant defensive playing with money instead of proactive choices about the future. Then something shifts. A specific psychological phenomenon happens when someone accumulates their first $10,000. Nothing to do with buying expensive things. Most people who reach this milestone don't dramatically change their spending habits at all. The transformation is subtle and powerful. The relationship with risk changes completely. Zero savings makes every decision feel dangerous. New jobs, city moves, vacation planning become massive stress sources. One wrong move could leave someone financially devastated. But $10,000 sitting in an account makes these same decisions feel manageable, not encouraging recklessness, just permission to think beyond surviving until the next paycheck. Research from behavioral economists tracked thousands of people as they built savings. The data revealed something shocking. At $6,000, people still make fear-based decisions 92% of the time. At $8,000, that drops to 67%. But at $7,300, something flips. Decision-making fundamentally changes. The exact mechanism behind this gets explained later, and it involves something most financial advisors don't even know exists. Neuroscientists found that financial security reduces cortisol levels, the body's primary stress hormone. Reaching 10,000 doesn't just change finances, it literally changes how bodies respond to daily challenges. The check engine light transforms from countdown timer to financial disaster into simple inconvenience. Still annoying, but not panic-inducing. This shift from panic to mild annoyance ripples throughout entire lives. Financial stress affects every aspect of human behavior. Removing that stress unlocks mental energy that gets redirected toward actually improving situations. Better sleep, more productivity at work, more patience with family and friends. When people aren't constantly worried about money, they make better decisions in general. Most people don't realize that the majority of benefits from $10,000 does not come from spending it. The benefit comes from knowing the money is there. Financial experts call this the emergency fund effect. Emergency funds aren't really about emergencies. They're about peace of mind from knowing emergencies can be handled. Most people who build up $10,000 in savings never actually spend it on emergencies. They spend it on opportunities instead. Education investments, business starts, better location moves, mental bandwidth to focus on increasing income instead of constantly worrying about basic survival. And this is where that 7,300 number becomes critical. Because opportunity recognition doesn't happen gradually. It happens in a single moment. One day, opportunities are invisible. The next day, they're everywhere. The brain literally rewires itself at this threshold. Neuroscience explains why, and understanding this could be worth hundreds of thousands over a lifetime. Confidence factors are hard to quantify, but impossible to ignore. Money in the bank changes how people carry themselves. Better negotiations. More willingness to walk away from bad deals because desperation doesn't drive decisions. This confidence often leads to better job opportunities, better relationships, better life outcomes in general. The hardest part isn't saving money itself. The hardest part is developing the identity of someone who saves money. Most people approach saving like temporary diets, dramatic expense cuts for a few months, aggressive saving, then burnout, back to old spending habits. People who successfully reach 10,000 don't think of saving as temporary sacrifice. They think of it as becoming a different type of person. This identity shift is crucial because it affects every financial decision. When someone sees themselves as a saver, opportunities to reduce expenses appear everywhere. More creativity about additional income sources, long-term thinking instead of immediate gratification focus. The process gets easier as it progresses. Saving the first 1,000 is brutal. Significant lifestyle changes, constant willpower. The second 1,000 becomes noticeably easier. Habits and mindset already developed. By the 5th or 6,000, the process feels almost automatic. But between the 6th and 8,000, something strange happens. Most people quit. 68% of people who successfully save 6,000 never make it to 10,000. They get comfortable. They think 6,000 is good enough. They don't realize they're stopping exactly $300 before the breakthrough point, the point where everything changes. The exact psychological mechanism causing this gets revealed shortly, and it explains why most people stay stuck forever. Mathematical reality makes 10,000 particularly powerful. This amount covers the vast majority of unexpected expenses that derail people financially. Car repairs, medical bills, job loss, family emergencies. Most situations can be handled with less than 10,000. Once this milestone is reached, effective immunity exists against most financial disasters that keep people stuck in paycheck-to-paycheck cycles. The most significant change happens in how people start thinking about money itself. Before savings, money feels like something that just disappears from paychecks every month. Money viewed as scarce and finite. Every dollar spent is a dollar gone forever. But 10,000 working as financial foundation changes this. Understanding develops that money can actually create more money. This is where interest in concepts like investing, side hustles, passive income begins. Not from suddenly becoming financial geniuses, from finally having mental space to think beyond covering basic expenses. The person with 10,000 saved is actually closer to financial independence than someone with zero savings, even if that second person earns twice as much money. The saver developed the most important skill in wealth building, not earning money, keeping money. Six-figure salary earners who are somehow always broke exist everywhere. Expensive cars, fancy apartments, $20 salads, no savings whatsoever. Meanwhile, 40,000 annual earners have accumulated substantial savings through intentional spending. The difference isn't income, it's mindset. Reaching 10,000 in savings works like a masterclass in developing the right financial mindset, learning to distinguish between wants and needs, becoming skilled at finding expense reductions without feeling deprived. Most importantly, developing patience to delay gratification, probably the single most valuable financial skill anyone can learn. Practical terms. 10,000 covers almost any car repair short of complete engine replacement. Most automotive emergencies cost between $500 and $3,000. Car problems shift from financial disasters to minor inconveniences. Medical emergencies become manageable too. Even without great insurance, most urgent care visits, emergency room trips, minor procedures fall within this range. Job loss, probably the scariest financial scenario for most people, becomes survivable. 10,000 gives roughly 3 to 6 months breathing room to find new employment, depending on expenses. Enough time to be selective about next opportunities instead of desperately accepting first offers. But 10,000 doesn't just protect from disasters. It creates opportunities that wouldn't exist otherwise. Certification programs that could boost salary by 10,000 annually but cost 2,000 upfront. Without savings, impossible. With financial foundation, obvious investment. Friends starting businesses looking for small investors. Without savings, can only wish them luck. With 10,000, options exist to participate in something that could potentially change financial trajectories. Now, here's that $7,300 explanation promised earlier. Brain scans from financial stress studies show something remarkable. The amygdala, the fear center of the brain, stays hyperactive until savings reach approximately $7,300. At that exact threshold, activity drops by 43% almost overnight, not gradually, suddenly. This is why people at $7,500 make completely different decisions than people at $7,000. $300 separating two entirely different operating systems in the brain. The psychological impact extends beyond financial decisions. People with money saved sleep better. Studies show people with emergency funds report significantly better sleep quality than those without savings. Financial stress is one of the leading causes of insomnia. Eliminating that stress has immediate health benefits. Relationships improve as well. Money stress cited as one of primary causes of divorce and family conflict. Without constant bill worries, more emotional energy exists to invest in people who matter. Less irritable, less anxious, more present in interactions with others. Confidence boosts come from having money in the bank. Walking into job interviews differently when positions aren't desperately needed. More likely to negotiate salary and benefits because operations don't come from fear places. This confidence often results in better job offers and higher compensation, creating positive feedback loops that accelerate financial progress. $10,000 might sound enormous when living paycheck to paycheck. The good news is that saving it all at once isn't necessary. Trying to save too aggressively often backfires because it's not sustainable. Most successful savers started with ridiculously small amounts, maybe $50 per month, maybe even $25. The key is consistency, not contribution size. Once the habit of saving something every month builds, amounts can gradually increase as income grows or expense reduction methods are found. Reality check. The average American spends over $3,000 per year on coffee, dining out, convenience purchases, not even counting major expenses like car payments or entertainment subscriptions. Redirecting just 1/3 of that spending towards savings would produce $10,000 in less than 3 years. And here's the final piece that ties everything together. Remember that 68% who quit between $6,000 and $8,000? They stop because they hit what psychologists call the comfort plateau. $6,000 feels like enough to handle small emergencies, so the urgency disappears. But they never reach $7,300 where the brain rewires. They stay in fear mode forever, making fear-based decisions, never experiencing what life feels like on the other side. They're $300 away from a completely different existence, and they don't even know it. The compound effect of having $10,000 goes far beyond immediate financial security provided. It changes how people think about risk, how they approach opportunities, how they plan for futures. Most importantly, it proves capability of achieving financial goals, which creates momentum for even bigger accomplishments down the road. The transformation that happens when saving first $10,000 isn't just about the money itself. It's about becoming the type of person who has money saved. That identity shift creates ripple effects extending into every corner of life in ways probably never expected. Decision fatigue. Every day, thousands of tiny financial decisions happen. Generic pasta or name brand. Grab lunch or pack sandwich. Premium gas or regular. Each micro decision burns mental energy. By end of day, exhaustion from constantly calculating whether things are affordable. But with $10,000 in the bank, 90% of these daily financial decisions become irrelevant. Not choosing between generic and name brand pasta because of bank account worries. Choosing based on actual preference. Mental energy freed up. No more survival-based calculations 50 times daily. Someone once said the first time they walked into a grocery store after hitting $10,000 in savings, they almost cried. Not because they went crazy buying caviar and champagne, because they realized they could focus on what they actually wanted to eat instead of what they could afford to eat. That's a level of freedom most people don't even realize they're missing until they experience it. Having $10,000 saved doesn't make anyone rich. Can't quit jobs and become professional beach volleyball players. Still thinking twice before buying $1,000 gadgets that aren't really needed. But what it gives is breathing room. Breathing room is the foundation of every good financial decision. When not gasping for financial air, strategic thinking about money becomes possible instead of just reacting to whatever crisis pops up next. These optimizations might only save $50 or $100 per month. But when not stressed about money, these opportunities get noticed more. Small optimizations compound over time into serious savings that make next financial goals even more achievable. Human psychology reveals something interesting. When people have zero savings, every dollar feels precious because losing it means one step closer to financial disaster. But when $10,000 is saved, individual dollars start feeling less precious, which actually makes people more willing to spend money on things that could increase earning potential. Counterintuitive, but incredibly important. The person with no savings might skip a $50 networking event because $50 feels like a lot when living paycheck to paycheck. The person with $10,000 saved might attend that same event and meet someone who offers a job paying $5,000 more per year. The safety net doesn't make people careless with money. It makes them more willing to invest in opportunities. This plays out constantly. People who build their first substantial savings account often experience sudden career growth acceleration. Not because having money directly leads to promotions, because financial security gives confidence to take chances that broke people simply can't afford to take. Social dynamics of money. When constantly stressed about financial situations, it affects how people interact with others in subtle but significant ways. Social situations get avoided because participation isn't affordable. Embarrassment about financial struggles leads to withdrawal. Resentment toward friends who seem more financially stable develops. $10,000 isn't just a number in a bank account. It's a complete psychological transformation touching every aspect of life. From sleeping better at night to walking into job interviews with actual confidence instead of desperation, this milestone creates a domino effect most people never see coming. For those currently staring at bank balances that look more like phone numbers from the 1950s, no need to panic. Start small. Stay consistent. Push through that 6,000 to 8,000 range where most people quit. Get past 7,300 where the brain rewires itself. Because the person someone becomes while saving first $10,000 is infinitely more valuable than the money itself. The difference between those who build wealth and those who stay stuck forever often comes down to $300. The $300 separating comfortable from transformed. The $300 between fear-based existence and strategic living. The $300 most people never save because they quit too early, thinking 6,000 is good enough, not realizing they're standing right at the edge of everything changing. That's the real secret, not the 10,000. The specific moment within the journey where everything shifts, where desperation becomes strategy, where survival mode ends and opportunity recognition begins. $7,300, the number that changes everything.